met her in the fall. He took her to a movie, and when they done it all.
Hello and welcome to the Fabulous Picture Show. I'm Amanda Palmer. This week at the Iberville Cinema Club, we're showing the French thriller Écoute, temps. Directed by Alante Cavite, it stars Emily Dequesne as a woman who's investigating her own mother's murder by listening to her past. Also on the show, can the world's favourite idiot really be educating the children of rural Kenya? We have an atheist view of what happens when religion meets the modern world. And just how far will actors go to impress Jeremy Zimmerman as he casts the Hellboy sequel? But first, we head to Springfield for the movie version of the longest-running TV animation in history, The Simpsons. Broadcast in 90 countries in 45 different languages, well, few have escaped Homer's homespun wisdom.
Springfield, Vermont was just another small town in America. Until they decided to audition for the role of Springfield, home of Homer Simpson. Suddenly, all the town's worst attributes...
We're close to a nuclear power plant. We have one only 30 minutes from here.
...became selling points, earning them the world premiere and the right to dress up in their favourite clothes.
Please.
In Homer's first full-length feature,
What's a good pig?
the world's favourite idiot tries to save Springfield
This book doesn't have any answers.
from a catastrophe of his own making.
The word apology is tossed around a lot these days.
The film comes after the Simpsons team have made more than 400 episodes over 18 years from their Hollywood headquarters.
We got a dumb guy, we got Homer, he's an idiot. You know, when you see Homer on the roof of a house, you know in some way or another, he's gonna fall off the roof. You know.
Steady. Steady.
So our goal, our struggle is, the hurdle we must overcome is how do you get Homer to fall off the roof in a way that we haven't done before and the audience will be surprised by.
Steady.
But it's not Homer's blunders that have surprised some, it's the film's marketing.
Wait a minute, these are not sprinkles, sir.
What do you mean?
The studio turned 11 outlets of a convenience store into a replica of Quickie Mart run by Apu in the series. Not everyone thought it was funny.
They are asking actual employees, many of whom actually are Indian American, to show up to work, walk through the front door under a banner that mocks their ethnicity, and ask people as they leave the store, "Thank you, come again," which has become in the 80s and 90s a racist catchphrase against Indian Americans.
Thank you, come again.
Apu is just nothing, it's just a character of the movie. And it's a cartoon. I don't feel anything wrong with it.
Back in Springfield, Vermont, there's few reservations about the movie coming to town.
It's a great opportunity for us, both tourism and economic development-wise, and we're just proud to be part of it.
But this isn't the only place receiving an economic boost from Homer's self-made disaster. Tobacco was just another small town in rural Kenya with a reputation for its soapstone carvings. Until the Simpsons came to town.
Here we are in Tobacco, and this is now Master Carver's group. There are women who are doing sanding and polishing. Here we have covers. This is Homer carving. It's very popular in the Simpson cartoons. This is Machi. This is also very popular. This has been translated from a plastic to a substance now.
The master carvers of tobacco have an official license from 20th Century Fox, which they've more than earned.
We took a lot of time to achieve the benchmark, which took us nearly 1.5 years.
Dad, it's not fair to use a bug zapper to catch the fish.
It may be the most syndicated show in the world, but it hadn't reached tobacco until after they started carving The Simpsons.
No, we didn't know anything about it. But when we saw it, it was very interesting.
Spider Pig does whatever a spider pig does.
A miniature carving takes us 2 days to produce one piece.
Very hardest one is the shape of the eyes. You see, when you need to make this one, you should understand it very clear. Now you see the process is very far. One piece will pay to 120.
As a trainee, Zebedee Kiada earns less Kenyan shillings than the others, but none of them take home more than $3 a day.
Most things being used is knives, and there is other files like these ones. And so for cuttings, we use panga, we use step measures, axe. Mechanics is very expensive. So we prefer these ones because they are not very expensive to us.
The statues are sold by a British firm on the internet for $46. Enosh may never see the film, but wishes them every success.
And uplift our lives. We will not be able to support our children even in school. But now the project will assist us.
Homer Simpson believes in God only to keep the donuts coming, whereas the main character of the Turkish film, Takfa, well, he's God-fearing for very different reasons. Muharrem's life is a humble one. He moves between work and mosque, always guided by the certainties of his religion. Considered beyond corruption, the Imam elevates this simple man to the important role of rent collector.
Bilmem yapabilir miyim efendi hazretleri? Size karşı mahcup olmak istemem.
But the modern material world will test Muharrem's faith to the limit. I rarely read a biography from a director who comes out and says, I'm an atheist director and I've made a film about religion. You obviously felt that was important for people to know where you were coming from.
We got a lot of help from the Muslims and had to be honest towards them. The writer and I, we specifically tried to do that. Otherwise, this isn't something we should make into a huge issue. And actually, they liked the fact that someone wanted to make a film about them.
Even though what they wanted to do was very provocative, they portray Muharrem as a religious man unprepared for life in the 21st century and tormented by dreams of temptation. Muharrem's played by Erkan Can, one of Turkey's most famous actors. I'm interested to know, as an actor, what did you find difficult in this part?
It's a sensitive issue, and it was hard for me to take on this role because I had to remain on a very narrow path. Going to the right a bit, the left a bit, could have been wrong. It could have been dangerous in a way. So I tried very hard to keep the balance.
The place of religion is a crucial issue in Turkey, a country that's been secular since 1923. The openly religious AK party was recently re-elected to power. And while popular, they previously sparked protest amongst those who are keen to keep religion and the state separate.
Kirasını ödeyen adamı içki içiyor diye kapı dışarı et, dini bütün diye kira vermeyenden kira alma. Hadi bakalım şimdi çık işin içinden.
Takfa bravely presents a character whose faith proves no defense against the lure of corruption.
Hesabı yanlış yapmışız desem. 7'yi Ali Bey'e kaptırdık. Bir daha aynı şey hem de 2 kere yapamam.
But it didn't alienate Muslims, says the writer, who was once jailed for being a Marxist revolutionary.
Müslümanların zaten kabul etmedikleri.
What I think Muslims don't accept, for example, in artwork or political messages, is people humiliating them. Muslims have their own mechanisms of criticism, and it is possible just to sit down and debate stuff.
And in starting that debate, Takfa's one director, Ozan Kızıltan, prays as a new voice of Turkish cinema.
Who are you? I'm God.
God's big business these days.
I want you to build an ark. Yeah.
Ever since Bruce Almighty took over $480 million at the box office,
Having fun?
the studios have been desperate for a second coming.
Hey, Hosea! Away!
But rubber-faced Jim Carrey refused.
I turned down the job. The anchor position is yours.
So Steve Carell, a star in his own right since 40-year-old Virgin, reprises his role as Evan Baxter.
What are we gonna do?
And gets elected to Congress.
Let it out, son. It's the beginning of wisdom.
Only God has other plans.
Those animals are following me.
See, if you had an ark, you could have a place to put them on.
And he's not taking no for an answer.
Whenever I shave, the beard grows right back in. That's what happens when you shave. But then you shave again.
With a budget of $175 million, it's one of the most expensive comedies of all time.
Is that a llama with a hammer?
And Hollywood's most mainstream biblical movie since Mel Gibson's The Passion, which wasn't nearly as funny.
People, the flood is imminent. Is it too much to ask for a little precipitation?
In part 2, we're screening Écoute, temps, which I call a thriller, but Alonte, you won't.
No, it's not really a thriller. It is a little bit, but it's a personal quest and a criminal investigation.
It's a whole new genre, isn't it? Completely new.
Maybe.
Now, Emily, you play the sound recordist, the lady who wants to find out how her mother was murdered.
Yeah, and she will use this way the sound to know who was the murderer.
I know Alonte always wanted you to play the part. She couldn't think of anybody else. And we'll find out why in part 2.
He met her in